Hello, beautiful people. How are you on this beautiful Saturday? I would like to focus on one particular subject that I'm very well versed in because it's a personal matter of mine and it's something I've dealt with all my life. It is mind control, memory loss, having dreams of things that you think are not real, or having memories of situations that you could swear up and down it happened, but then when you try to think about it, it's all fuzzy and it seems like it didn't happen, but inside you know what happened, but you can't visualize it like all of your other memories. And then when you think of certain specific points in your life, like when you were a kid, you just get a big black hole. Well, these are things that have happened to me like all my life growing up. Now, before I start talking about all these things, I'd like to bring you to several things that I've watched recently and that I noticed. The first one is Smallville, Season 3, Episode 11. It's called Delete. What it actually is it's about this girl that has this program where she just sends an email and she can control your mind and make you do whatever she wants. This is again TV and Hollywood poking at MK Ultra technology. But then if anyone were to expose it, they'd be saying, oh, you saw Smallville, or oh, you saw this, or you saw that. Well, let me take it further back to an episode on TV of Wonder Woman, Season 2, Episode 10, Mind Stealers from Outer Space, Episodes 1 and 2. Now, what this is about these aliens called the Grill, or the Skrill, that come with a crystal. They have this crystal that they place on your head, and they take your soul and everything that's you out of your body. Your body is just an empty vessel, and then they just walk in your body. Now, I heard about these things in Romania from old Romanian folklore stories, and yes, I did meet some white witches, and they explained to me hexes and stuff like this, and when you get hexed, and how, the gypsy witches can take control of your body, basically take control of you and turn you into a zombie, or make you a walk-in. What a walk-in is somebody captures your soul and your entity and they possess you. They actually make you their vessel. They walk into you. Now, everyone knows about the most famous movie of all time, about the so-called walk-ins, the so-called demonic possessions, The Exorcist. That's basically what these shows are talking about. Other entities entering you and taking control of you, your mind, and your body, and you can't do anything. Sometimes you're there, and all you can do is watch, and you're helpless to do anything. Now, many reports of this happening to people have been reported through alien abductions. They claim the aliens have some kind of power that they can totally immobilize them. They can't move, but all they are is helpless to watch. There's plenty of documentation on this. Now, I just got through listening to an audiobook that's on YouTube. I strongly urge you to listen to it. It will blow your mind. I really hope somebody makes it into a movie. I brought it to the attention of some people that could. I really pray to God they do. And maybe I'll get a percentage off of it for, bringing it to their attention. That would be cool. I need the money. I'd love to get out of this bullshit house where they watch me all the time. The name of the movie, or it's not a movie, it's actually just a guy reading a book that was written by Andy Perot. That's ANDYPERO. It's called The Superman Project. This story is so dope. It is so mind blowing. And after I listened to it, it gave me the courage to record this video that I'm recording right now. Because after listening to this, I knew I was not just completely, having all these memories in my head for a long time, and knowing that these things didn't happen or did happen, and what they've actually been doing to me. Now, I'll explain a little bit about my life. I will get very personal, because honestly, if Andy can do it, fuck it, I can do it too. Now, I grew up, my father, he was the head of 14 kids. I'm a breed love Lovejoy Ewing. I have sovereign blood in my family. My father was a Blackfoot American sovereign. My father's mother was related to the Lincolns, the Ewings, also related to the Breedloves, Lovejoys, which were descendant of the original English, not the British German Nazis, who were about to get the fuck kicked out of the England, which is awesome because they're pedophiles and rapists and behind this sick, twisted shit that I'm about to talk about and expose. So they've been knowing about me since day one. 6 months after 9/11, I was approached by some black lawyers, and I will say black lawyers, not because of the color of their skin, just because of the color of their tone. And I will say tone because black is a tone, it's not a color. So for all you black people out there, you're not black dumbasses. You're brown, you're dark brown, there's brownish blue, there's light brown. There is no black people, okay? According to artistic color and what they say is color, black is not a color, it's a shade. So is white. White is without pigment. Okay? Black is a shadow. So when you call yourself black, you're basically saying you're actually something that looks like does exist, but it doesn't. When you get into artistic terms, it's shadowing, shading. So there's no black people. Technically. So I'm not black and brown. Okay, and I'm very proud of it. So, when you get into specific things about mind control and about my family and about how I grew up, there are things that people aren't ready to handle, that the public isn't ready for. Because after I was approached 6 months after 9/11, these lawyers told me that because of who I am, because of my family, because of my bloodline being sovereign and actually related to royalty, Breedlove Lovejoy, English royalty, not German, that actually technically makes me sovereign royalty of the Americas. And I say the Americas is because I mean the land that my people were on throughout the Americas, not America the country, Americas. South America, North America, I mean even France, the Nubian Moors, they traveled the world. They were the first world travelers. They have the oldest artifacts placed all over the earth to prove it, like the stones on Easter Island, the stones in France that I dug up that are of the fossilized arrowheads that belong to my people of France before it was even France. First world travelers. So this is my bloodline. Now the government, Rothschild Nazis, all of them have known this longer than me. They have done everything to cover this fact up, because the fact of the matter is, in France, the land that the Rothschilds stole, raped, and pillaged from the French, they technically cannot own because they are German, Bavarian, Nazi descent. Legally and technically, since I found sovereign rocks in the Bastille, dug them up, that land should have been excavated and seen what's actually under there, actually under the secret government French base that's beneath the Bastille Keep that no one can see. This land should have been excavated. So when I dug up these stones, it was a very big deal, because technically and legally, the only people that have the legal right to own any land in France are the sovereign French. That means people like me. That means the curly-haired, short, light-eyed French. The ones that the Nazis just went after, raped, and pillaged. The beautiful French women. Those sovereign French people are the only ones that have the right to own any land in France, technically. And those are some of the poorest people in France because of what the Rothschilds did to France and what they've done throughout the world to the sovereign people of Australia, America, the Americas, the Latin countries where the Nazis went to Argentina, and Argentina welcomed them with open arms because they knew what they were doing. They were stomping on the sovereign, because even the Latins that came from Spain had no legal right to own this land. And once this fact was made public to the Latin people, to the Spanish people, to the so-called owners of the land, oh, they got with the Nazis quick. Here you go. Let's start killing. And this is exactly what they did. Up until this day, this is the biggest secret hidden from the public. Going after the sovereign people, killing them, raping them, enslaving them, and stripping away their history and their name. And they've been doing this with mind control, trying to erase what we know and feel. And now that I've studied, what we absolutely can prove. So 6 months after 9/11, after I was approached by these black lawyers, because they were dressed in all black, they were brown-skinned men, and they informed me that I was the #1 recipient of the black reparations lawsuit because of who I am, because of my bloodline, because of my unique mix. It's very rare. And because the people that own the Federal Reserve Corporation, the Rothschilds, the 13 bloodlines, they're controlled by the draconian fucking lizard, whatever you want to call them, race, the enslavers of humanity. Because they own this bank, they've known about me since the day I was born. They knew about me since the day my mother and father got married. They were happy to see what they would produce. They are so-called masters of genealogy, right? So they've been stalking me since the day I was born. They've been waiting to see what they could mix in with me, what they could do to me, how much my race, how much my people can take mentally and physically. Well, shortly I will get into what they've done to me mentally. So I was notified about September 15th how the black reparations lawsuit was supposed to be filed, and it wasn't. Due to 9/11, was also an environmentalist, and I knew Bush was to be impeached because of the Environmental Act the environmentalists had filed. It was supposed to be filed on September 12th due to Bush going into the National Alaskas and continued the drilling, which has caused the polar shift today. Us environmentalists knew about that way before he got in office. So they did this and they knew what they were doing. So the Impeachment Act was never filed on Bush. Black reparations lawsuit was never filed due to 9/11. And guess what happened? Us environmentalists and people like me became direct targets. After they came for me, after I broke from their control, I went to the streets. I lived homeless on the streets, on and off, for about 8 years. It took me about a year and a half to get to Romania after I contacted the Romanian consulate and I informed them who I was and what was happening to me due to 9/11 and what they were doing to my family and what my stepbrother was and is and what he does for the government. He's a government assassin. He's a fucking killer. So he ain't doing it anymore since I exposed his ass. Dirty ass cop. Marine. He was their handler over the handlers. Well, not even he can do a goddamn thing to me because I've been exposing his bitch ass. And the things that he's done and the money that he's gotten and the places that he holds for the police. I've even exposed him to his own buddies that have known him for 25 years. Officer Cliff Jackson. Fuck you. Dirty ass bitch. Love saying it. So anyway, that's my stepbrother from Detroit. Part of the 3Ds. If you don't know about the 3Ds, it's that bullshit gang from Detroit that fucked up Detroit. Those dirty ass niggas, and that's exactly what he is. Fuck all you, fuck all them. Love getting that off my chest. It's a bit explicit, but they know what they did. And they know how much money they take to try to stop this, but they couldn't because I was more intelligent than them. And never lost my cool. And never ever shot a gun. Never needed to because I was always on point about exposing the truth no matter where I was. Don't ever be afraid to speak about what you see and what you know in your heart. May save your life one day. So, this is part of, what they've done to me, but I'm going to get into when I was a kid and what they did to my father. My father was really abusive to me. From what I can understand, he was possibly and probably under mind control too, because every time that he'd get back from his business trips or working for the government, because he worked for the government, he would come home and beat us. It would just be like he'd find the smallest thing and snap and, beat my mom, beat my sister, beat me sometimes for hours, taking turns. It just didn't make any sense. But then when I learned about mind control and torture and submission and when it actually started when he started doing business with the government. When he started his own insurance business. When he started being the head sales rep for Amway. If you don't know about Amway, Amway was the first governmental environmental organization that claimed to have the first environmentally safe products. But the thing that my father learned and exposed after he moved up the ranks in Amway as their top salesman for the first 3 years that they were around, and then they gave him a bigger government job. He started Texas Oil Waste and Chemicals. He started moving around these chemicals for Amway. Now, the thing is, to produce these so-called environmental friendly chemicals, Amway had to do some things that were really evil. And what I mean by evil is to produce these chemicals that so-called convinced people that they were environmentally friendly. To make these chemicals, well, they had leftover, let's say, excursions from these products that were more toxic than crude oil or hazardous oil waste disposal products. Because my father got into a business exposing of these products, getting rid of them. The government's way of getting rid of this hazardous material was just building big metal tanks and dumping these canisters in them, and some places burying them. My father was part of this. So after my father started to get sick from exposure to these chemicals, he had a plant in Pasadena. If you live in Texas, everyone knows how toxic Pasadena used to be. You couldn't even drive through Pasadena and bear how Pasadena would smell due to the toxic chemicals and all the exposure of the toxicity. And now they've, built Pasadena up and tried to, make everybody forget about that part of Pasadena, Texas. So now that I've come to understand how they beat me into submission through my father, how they did the same to my mother and sister. My sister's dead now, R.I.P. And so are other members of my family. R.I.P. to all of them. Because of who we are and because of who we were born to be. This is actually for them, because none of them got this far to have the courage or the knowledge to expose these things. So then when you get into mind control, well, my memory as a kid is there's so many holes in it. Just like black spaces, I'll call it. And I'll call these black spaces because they're actually blocks that were put in by someone due to mind control. They will say, it's because of the abuse. It's not because of the abuse. Oh, I remember the abuse. I remember all of it. It's just some specific points in my childhood when I try to think of them, they're just blacked out. Like somebody just erased them. Just darkness. Well, I had this problem, and I had a mental breakdown at the age of 21 where I was doing some mushrooms one day. And then I had this mushroom trip where I broke through a wall and I saw my whole life. I saw my birth. I saw where I came from. I saw everything. I was in this place that was like a library where you could ask any question and it could be the thickest book that would take you, say, 2 years to read, and you understood it in a second. This place was filled with love. This place was like, holographic. And when I say holographic is when you look at those little holographic stickers and you move them up and down and they change. Well, imagine a place with colors like this, like a ever-flowing rainbow. This is how I could explain this place. In this trip, it was revealed to me like all these things, and I remembered everything that happened to me. I had been doing a lot of OBEs before this happened, and doing a lot of meditative things before this happened, trying to remember my memory. But after this particular trip, when I came back, to my body. Couldn't speak. Locked myself in my room. It tripped me out. I couldn't say a thing. I couldn't speak for 2 weeks. I didn't say anything to my family for 2 days. Locked myself in my room. My mother freaked out. She called the police. The police came and broke the door down in my room and took me to a hospital. During this time, when I was in the hospital, my mother got remarried. Never forget it. She got married to a man she had known for just a few weeks. Does that sound familiar to anyone? I mean, first she's dating this guy, and then like a month and a half later, they're getting married. Mind control. His name was Wilbur Jackson from the Shrine of the Black Madonna. If anybody knows about the Shrine of the Black Madonna, it is an evil cult. They claim that they came here to help black people. Well, it's a money laundering organization. I know plenty of people from that organization and what they told me about the Shrine of the Black Madonna. So for all you so-called brown people that go there and think it's a good place, well, it ain't. It's one of those places that's involved with Operation Black Desk. Operation Black Desk was set up to study black people. How do you get black people to study black people? Well, start black organizations and black cults like the Shrine of the Black Madonna. So my mother was a mark. I was a mark. And Wilbur Jackson came in the family when they had me locked up in this hospital. They couldn't figure out what happened. Well, they knew what happened. Got my memories back. So in 2 weeks, they injected me with 22 different forms of medication to get me back under control. I went from 154 pounds to 217 pounds in 2 weeks. When I got out of the hospital, nobody recognized me. Does this sound normal? But it happened to me. This is what they do to their specimens under specific government observation and mind control. So a few years later, after seeing a therapist and talking to her and being under a doctor that is under them, his name is Nicholas Ed. Now, I'm not going to reveal the doctor that I saw that works under him because she's incredible, because she took me off of all my medications. She said I didn't need it. Pissed Nicholas Ed off, but he was happy that he was getting recordings of my life and my psyche and how I think and this and this and this. Nicholas Ed's a faggot. Worked in the Spring Branch area. Also tried to put my nephew away. He wasn't successful at it. Nicholas Ed, get it? Dr. Ed. Does anybody remember Ed the Talking Horse? From that old black and white series. I never saw it, but I remember it like as a small kid. The Talking Horse. Dr. Ed. So, these are the things that the government has done during my MK Ultra project, Montauk experimentation. Now, I'm going to reveal something that they tried to wipe away as a kid. And I remember it. It's going to piss them off, but fuck it. I don't care. I remember this. You may think it's bullshit. And honestly, really don't give a shit what you think. This is for me. And this is for the people that like a good story or documentary. So I put it out there to the universe so it'll vibrate. And so in time, even if you don't hear it, you know it. When I was a kid living in Navasota, I was abducted. Navasota is out in the middle of nowhere. We have land in our family that was given to my great-great-grandfather by Lincoln because he was Lincoln's cousin. And Lincoln gave a lot of slaves land after he freed them. That's one of the things they don't talk about Lincoln. Another thing that they don't talk about Lincoln is the original Lincoln Park was in Navasota, Texas. I grew up going to that park in Navasota that was called Lincoln Park. And they changed it because they took Lincoln's house out. They took his bed out. They took everything out. But I'll never forget it. They just, when Bush Sr. got into office, they just erased it. Took everything to Lincoln Memorial. So that college that they have, that cottage that they have in Lincoln Memorial, used to be in Navasota, Texas, people. That long-ass wooden bed that's really tall that Lincoln slept in is in Navasota, Texas. So when you go to Lincoln Memorial, which I've never been to, have no desire to go, do your research about where that came from. And you'll understand that there's a lot of truth behind this story. So I was abducted as a child a few times. Thought I was crazy, thought I was dreaming. But it was by Nazis and their reverse engineered technology. So I remember what happened. And as I progressed, they started to do things to me and put memories and all these things I can't explain. But one particular time I do remember, after I moved from Navasota, and I was living in Humble, Texas, a very rich area around a bunch of rich Jewish Anasazi Nazis. Lucas was one of them. A man that goes by the name of Abba. All of you big Hollywood people, all you big drug dealers that smoke weed and grow weed. All of you know Abba from Mendocino. His daughter is Jade. Son Bijou. So you know what I say is true. All of you that know what's up in Hollywood. And y'all are probably going, damn, I can't believe he's dropping that man's name. Well, Abba was my next door neighbor. My so-called protection for my father. The only person that would be nice to my father in an all-rich community of rich people where Lucas lived when he was writing the Star Wars script. So the Nazis had their bullshit UFOs back then. So one day they tried taking me and their hypnosis shit didn't work. I can just tell you that me and another kid took control of their ship, took out several Nazis that were flying this ship, and they became so afraid of me as a kid, they classified me as something I don't know what, and they really, really, really have been watching me heavily into this day. So now I've come to understand the relapse in memories and all of the mind controlling. Well, to you fucking Nazis, guess what? Freemasons, Rothschilds, and black sellout Luciferian Freemasons that are in on this. All your triggers, they don't work. I got my full memory back. As for the Superman Project, Andy Perot, the things you did to him, when I get around the right people and start talking about the things that you did to me and the things I did to you in the UK, in France, in Romania, the things that you were so easily to convince people, oh, he's crazy. Oh, he's this and this. But y'all spend so much money sending in your government agents. Can't wait to talk about it. So by me putting this out, that means you can't really come around anymore. All the people that you have as marks and as handlers are going to be watched like a fucking needle in a haystack now. All the shit you spent so much money on using to control me, to hold me down and to keep me down so I don't have money because you know what the fuck I can do. Fuck all you. As for Anna Chapman, as for BG, as for all of the French Foreign Legion that gave me props in France and that taught me and trained me because they knew I was part of something more than they were telling them and believed in me. Thank you, Legionnaires. Bless all you. When they took me in and took me under their wing and taught me and they saw what I was capable of, and the only group of government soldiers that really believed in me and showed me things that bring joy to my heart today and tears to my eyes right now. Thanks, Legionnaires. Bless all of you. Bless each and every one of you. I know what they did to you. I know what they do to you. So they put you under their control and make you the most ruthless and fucking fearless. Well, now we got control. And now let them fear us because they know what we can do. You think Andy Perot is the only Project Superman? You think, he just laid the foundation. Now he speaks. And when all of us rise up and speak and break through your control, what the fuck are you gonna do? To all you draconians, you 6-foot fucking lizards, what the fuck you gonna do? Andy Perot, I love in his book how he describes he just ripped apart a grave with his mind. It ain't fake, people. In Revelations, that the old Pope, that's the Pope before the pedophile Pope that's resigned, right now he spoke of Revelations and children of the light. Generation X. They've known about us for a long time. What happens when Generation X is out of their control? I'd like to leave you with this. A slave is experimented on. It's watched, cataloged, tagged, like cattle. The Emancipation Proclamation was an act that was simply made in ways that they said that they were freeing the slaves. It's not true. To emancipate means to transfer ownership of property to another establishment or organization. That's all they did. They didn't free us. They transferred ownership of the slaves to the UCC, to the Federal Reserve Corporation. So as for all of you that celebrate, Juneteenth, Black History Month. Black History Month is bullshit. There ain't no black man. Understand? So they get you to celebrate celebration of the shadow. Celebration of brainwashing a whole race of slaves, calling themselves a name that means you believe in something that technically is not there. You calling yourself black, a shadow, shading. You are brown, light brown, dark brown, brown, blue. And then when you get into white people, there's no white race. Look at your skin. There's pink. There's tan. There's pinkish tan. There's even brownish gold. When you get tan, there ain't no white. White is without pigment. It's an albino. And even an albino is pink. It's not white. So they've even tricked you. Trick of words. It's what they do. Trick of technology. It's what they do. Trick of technology. You don't know it, you're fooled. So then when you get into the Black Reparations lawsuit, what it actually would have done was started the first audit, the first lawsuit on the Federal Reserve due to the Black Reparations lawsuit, due to the Emancipation Proclamation, due to the straw man's bond. If you don't know what the straw man's bond is, it's your birth certificate. It's a bond. Look on it. Read it. Where it says your mom, it doesn't say mom, it says informant. The lower right hand number that's written on your birth certificate in red, that's your stock trading number, your cattle to them. If this had been filed on September 15th, I'd be very rich, very free, and they would have been done. So, legionnaires, enlightened human beings, have faith in the children of the light. Have faith because guess what? They created their worst nightmare. Read Superman Project, Andy Perot. Go on YouTube, listen to it. I'll post the link under this video. Get informed about Project Montauk, Project Phoenix. I mean, if this was bullshit, why would they have so many things on TV, like basically telling you, hey, we could make a phone call or send you an email and pff, you can kill yourself, or you can kill anybody we say. Trigger words. Hypnosis. I mean, Andy Perot in Project Superman revealed that the government psychologists, psychiatrists, the guys that, go in and talk to the agents mentally, they were actually Nazi hypnotists. And so when they would go in and talk to the agents, they would hypnotize them. Andy Perot revealed that they had the whole FBI under Nazi control under Project Montauk. So for all you government agents, you know what this says to me? If you've ever seen your government therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, what do you think? Huh? Do you think they'd spend $200, $300 on a hypnotist to hypnotize you for an hour and to control you and to make you forget about things that they don't want you to ever expose, but they still need you to continue to do your work because you're a very valuable asset? It's just too perfect. They don't have to kill you. All they have to do is erase that memory and boom, you're off. Phone call, code word, do this, and you don't remember it. perfect assassin. The Superman Project is about this. Wonder Woman, Season 2, Episode 10, Mind Stealers from Outer Space is about this. Smallville, Season 3, Episode 11, Delete, is about this. Plenty episodes in Stargate. I mean, shit, Stargate is about this. When you have a guau just jump in your fucking stomach through your mouth and take control of you? What do you think that's about, people? That is an alien threat, a fucking lizard, parasitic. Look up the definition of parasite. That they have a show about Stargate, you know? That so the Stargate is real because I know because of the things I was exposed to in Paris. What's up, Legionnaires? Fuck you, French intelligence. We showed you who runs shit. So when you get into Stargate, hello? It's a fucking lizard that fucking possesses you. And then they say there's a friendly version called the Tok'ra. Fuck you, Tok'ra. Bottom line is, you still need us to survive. According to the show Stargate. And then, once the Gua'uld takes you over, what happens to you? You become a super soldier. How is it that you get stronger, faster, smarter? I mean, how does these things happen to you after a lizard takes you over? Unleashes capabilities that are already in you. When we use like 4 to 8% of our brain, what does that lizard help you unlock more and give you a better understanding of what you truly are? They fear us, each and every one of us. Because if Andy Perot can unleash the Superman in him, what do you think we all have the capability of doing, and why they spend so much money on mind control and Project Montauk and Project Phoenix and showing us in TV and so many shows and brainwashing us? Say, oh, you can do this, you can do this. But no, it's TV, it's fake, it's fake. You can't. You can't. It's just a movie. It's just a dream. Sleep. I am Zacharias Breedlove Ewing. Zakaos, my stage name. I'm a DJ, turntablist, writer, musician, MC, singer, and lover of life. I have nothing but this time and to be stalked and tracked and watched by these evil Nazi motherfuckers, because they would rather experiment on me and get me to breed and take control of my offspring, just like they did with Andy. But now, after recording this and after I put it up and after I put it out into the universe, what the fuck you gonna do now? Don't hack my computer. Don't try to hack my Ableton, because Ableton's a fucking evil program. I mean, shit. When you have all the stuff and the presets that are evil this, evil that. I mean, in the program that they sell, you know? That should tell you something about the owners. So after my last video, you know, that I put up on YouTube, Zakaos Breedlove Ewing, I mean, they hacked my Ableton. I had to reset it 6 times. My registry was hacked 19 times. I didn't want that video up. You know they don't want this up. Because by doing this, I put it out into the universe. Love and light to you all. Thank you for your time. Peace. One last thing I'd like to add is I forgot to finish about Dr. Barnett. If you're out there somewhere, God bless you. After years and years of noticing that, I had my childhood memories missing, I saw a doctor. He was a holistic doctor. Now, he had a wife that had a very traumatic life, and all he wanted to really do is help her and help her with her mind and her memory. And then he turned this into a profession of actually doing this for people. And he used a natural process. He used the essence of flowers, the essence of smell, and really just visualization, not really hypnosis. So when I had this done to me over, I'll say about 9 years ago, he said that I have a lot of memories missing. And he looked at me, and at that instant he knew, because I knew he knew something that he didn't want to say in front of my mother, because she was probably part of it too. And actually, she was probably, if I know anything about handlers and etc., if she was subject to mind control, she was probably subject to see what he said and what happens. Because they like to study everything, and because the way they do it is they study other doctors trying to help people, and then they put up blocks against their methods in your mind. It's this simple. So Dr. Barnett said it's going to take some time, and I said, how long? A few weeks, months? And he said, a while. When he said a while, I thought, okay, maybe a year or two. Not 8. Not 9, not this long. But I've slowly been getting my memories back since that process. That day he helped me remember things about that school that I was part of in Atascocita, and how racist and how really messed up the teachers were, and how even they used trigger words on me. And I would say trigger words because they were using trigger words on me, and I remember now. It would be, they would say one word and all of a sudden I'd go black. And so what this leads me to know is they were doing things to me before the age of 13, 12. So anyways, thanks for your time. And Dr. Barnett got my memory back. I hope you're good and safe. Thank you for all the help that you've done with all the people. And continue to fight the good fight. Love and light. Be blessed. Peace. Like all my life growing up. Now, before I start talking about all these things, I'd like to bring you to several things that I've watched recently and that I noticed. The first one is Smallville, Season 3, Episode 11. It's called Delete. What it actually is it's about this girl that has this program where she just sends an email and she can control your mind and make you do whatever she wants. This is again TV and Hollywood poking at MK Ultra technology. But then if anyone were to expose it, they'd be saying, oh, you saw Smallville, or oh, you saw this, or you saw that. Well, let me take it further back to an episode on TV of Wonder Woman Season 2, Episode 10, Mind Stealers from Outer Space, Episodes 1 and 2. Perot, that's Andypero. It's called The Superman Project. This story is so dope. It is so mind-blowing. And after I listened to it, it gave me the courage to record this video that I'm recording right now. Because after listening to this, I knew I was not just completely, having all these memories in my head for a long time, and knowing that these things didn't happen or did happen, and what they've actually been doing to me. Now, I'll explain a little bit about my life. I will get very personal, because honestly, if Andy can do it, fuck it, I can do it too. Now, I grew up, my father, he was the head of 14 kids. I'm a breed, love, Lovejoy Ewing. I have sovereign. Now, what this is about these aliens called the Grill, or the Skrill, that come with a crystal. They have this crystal that they place on your head, and they take your soul and everything that's you out of your body. Your body is just an empty vessel, and then they just walk in your body. Now, I heard about these things in Romania from old Romanian folklore stories, and yes, I did meet some white witches, and they explained to me hexes and stuff like this, and when you get hexed, and how, the gypsy witches can take control of your body, and basically take control of you and turn you into a zombie, or make you a walk-in. What a walk-in is somebody captures your soul and your entity, and they possess you. They actually make you their vessel. They walk into you. Now, everyone knows about the most famous movie of all time, about the so-called walk-ins, the so-called demonic possessions, The Exorcist. That's basically what these shows are talking about. Other entities entering you and taking control of you, your mind, and your body, and you can't do anything. Sometimes you're there, and all you can do is watch, and you're helpless to do anything. Now, many reports of this happening to people have been reported through alien abductions. They claim the aliens have some kind of power that they can totally immobilize them. They can't move, but all they are is helpless to watch. There's plenty of documentation on this. Now, I just got through listening to an audiobook that's on YouTube. I strongly urge you to listen to it. It will blow your mind. I really hope somebody makes it into a movie. I brought it to the attention of some people that could. I really pray to God they do. And maybe I'll get a percentage off of it for, bring it to their attention. That would be cool. I need the money. I'd love to get out of this bullshit house where they watch me all the time. The name of the movie, or it's not a movie, it's actually just a guy reading a book that was written by Andy. Hello, beautiful people. How are you on this beautiful Saturday? I would like to focus on one particular subject that I'm very well versed in, because it's a personal matter of mine, and it's something I've dealt with all my life. It is mind control, memory loss, having dreams of things that you think are not real, or having memories of situations that you could swear up and down it happened, But then when you try to think about it, it's all fuzzy and it seems like it didn't happen, but inside you, you know what happened, but you can't visualize it like all of your other memories. And then when you think of certain specific points in your life, like when you were a kid, you just get a big black hole. Well, these are things that have happened to me